Thanks to everyone for joining the Rewst EU Open Mic. So yeah, we're here to kind of give our monthly update from June. So in case any of you folks missed it or aren't able to attend Friday Open Mics, we wanted to create this dedicated space not only for you guys to get those updates, but also for us to kind of help build up our community in Europe, get you guys connected. And have a space for conversation and collaboration at least once a month. So good to see you all on. Thanks for joining. Daniel, I see you've snuck on there, sir. Good morning. How are you? Are you recovered as well?
I am recovered. We had a great Canada Day this week. Those filthy Americans get the day off tomorrow, but I'm good. Yeah.
Daniel, if Americans on America Day shoot guns, launch fireworks, and do a lot of barbecuing, what do Canadians do on Canada Day?
We drink Molson's and have maple syrup. Yeah.
Just cover everything. Yeah, shots of syrup.
Yeah.
There we go. And try and ride a moose or a Canadian goose. You take your pick.
Exactly.
I know which one I'd rather go for. All righty. Well, we're going to kick the show straight over to you, Daniel. I know there's a lot of great product stuff to get through. I remember chatting to you earlier in the month, and yeah, just like tons of stuff coming out. Not to mention some of the big announcements from Furlough last week. So yeah, I want to make sure you've got plenty of time to run through all the good stuff you and your team have been doing. Question is, I assume you want to drive for this, or do you want me to fire up the slides?
I can fire up the slides if that so I can switch between them.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Get the party started. Boop boop. Greg, miss you already. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen here. Need to get my screen here. And here we go. So we got some cool updates from this month. I'm going to try to run through at least a few of these, and feel free to ask questions. We'll be monitoring the chat here. But over the month of June, what are we, July? Over the month of June, we've got quite a few new features out there, and we had a big announcement at Flow in case you didn't see or hear about it. So we have the dashboard workflow table. We've added a new widget to the bottom of the dashboard that counts your tasks and shows your time savings, and gives you some more detailed metrics into how you're using Rewst and where the value you're getting is. I'll show that shortly. We added forms options filters, which is a new piece of functionality that makes filtering options in your forms a lot more simple. And it's more of a UI sort of based filtering system instead of having to use Jinja. We've added some better filters to the workflow and workflow results tables. We've redesigned our Create Marketplace that will allow for improved search and filter functionality. We've added a OpenText Secure Cloud integration as well as a FlexPoint integration, and we have kind of the meat and potatoes of our announcements for June, and that is RoboRewsty coming in Q3 and Q4. So I'll show you a couple of videos of RoboRewsty since it is still in our engineers' hands, but we did we demoed it live actually when we were all in Tampa for the Flow conference, and the demos, just FYI, are going to be sped up a little bit, creating workflows using AI. That's a spoiler. Does take in the order of probably minutes, but we'll speed it up just for the sake of the video. We'll use some movie magic here. So I have some screenshots just in case, but I think it would be better if I actually showed some of this functionality. So I'm just going to get out of here for a second and jump into my dashboard here. So what you can see is we have a list of all the workflows that have run in a given time period. It updates, I think, daily, and it will show you the number of total tasks that have run and your time savings. So as you can see here, we're not doing a very good job of adding time savings to our workflows, but you can also sort these tables or these columns The default sort is, I believe, total tasks. You can actually see stuff like, okay, we can do some sort of calculations here to see what the total tasks per execution would be. You can download this as a CSV. But yeah, this just gives you some better information into the metrics or into where you're actually getting value from Rewst. The next thing that I'll show is our forms options filters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, call this open like July. Doing it live, folks.
Right to the demo gods.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So if I add a drop-down component in here, what you can do is you can actually see that there's a filter options button here. So you see the very basic placeholder 1, value 1 sort of stuff. So right now you can see that there's all 3 options, and when it's filtered, there's still all 3. So what you can do is you can add a rule here, and I can say when value equals. So what are the values? Actually, I'm going to say when label equals, because as we all know, there's values and labels for options because they're dictionaries, and I'm just going to say placeholder 1. When I apply that filter, you'll see this immediately changes. If I close that and I can preview it, I can see that it's filtered it down to 1 option. This also works with options generators. So you can actually pull, you know what, maybe we want to do it live. Do you guys want to walk me through creating an options filter? Let's do it. Okay. Let's see. Let's call this options filter. I'm going to add a no-op here, and let's just add an alias. Let's get ChatGPT to get me something here. Okay, we're going to go locations while this generates. And let's call our locations. Okay, that's good. I might need help here because I'm just this silly product manager. Close, create an options gen, make the output locations. Submit, and let's publish this and we'll test it too. I just want to make sure that I have locations coming out here. If I'm doing anything wrong, you people in the chat better tell me. Does it need to be a list? Jack, help me.
Yeah, thank you for getting the square brackets. Right, this.
Let's see here.
Because that's a list item.
Should it be a list and not a dictionary?
Interesting.
Okay. Jack, if you leave me hanging too, or if I'll be pretty angry. Okay. So let's call this workflow generated. Let's refresh this so I can actually pull in this new workflow. Oh yeah. I famously ignore Jack's DMs every time he tries to message me. Let's find out. This is where I'm gonna need some help from the crowd.
This is where Jack wants to find out how angry you're going to get, Daniel.
Yeah, exactly.
He's actually fuming
no
right
options.
now. You just can't tell because it's the Canadian in him. This is Daniel's actually raging.
Yeah.
Bingo.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, that's where I went wrong. Let's close this. Let's go like this, locations. Thank you, Jack. About time Jack did something here. Okay. We're gonna go label ID, perfect. And then just gonna turf this and see what we can do here. Okay, so we'll go back to dynamic options from workflow generated, and it's gonna be from options filter. Value ID label, and let's see what we can. There we go. So no label found. Yeah, I need to get recertified. It's been a long time. There we go. There we go. So if I only want Berlin, what I can do is I can add, and you can string together rules as well, right? So I think Berlin was one of them. By filter, boom. So now you only have Berlin, your options filters. There we go. That's one demo that we're down. Perfect. 2 demos, actually. Okay. Recertified, sure, buddy. All right, and now let's go take a quick look at our, maybe I'm going to go into a different environment here just to show, get a better look at the results filtering. So I'm just going to pull up the other screen here and move it over. Gotta protect the data. Okay. So if I go into my workflows table, what I can do now with this new filtering is I can look up stuff like the number one example we have is anything that will include all crate workflows. And then what we'll do is we will exclude sub workflows. And this will give me a list of all primary workflows related to crates. Oops, and then I just deleted it. So yeah, if once again, I'll do that, I'll exclude sub workflows and I will include workflows associated with crates, and boom, I have a list of my primary workflows. The other thing that you can do with this improved search and filter is you can actually, oh, and this persists, you can see, so you can filter by a date range. So if I jump in here, you can see that I only have 30 days worth of data, and I was pulling data before that. But I can look at workflows or workflow results for only a specific date or dates. Yeah, so that's some new filtering. And then just for, I'm just gonna do a quick time check here. I think we can jump right into some of these RoboRewsty videos. We do have some integrations with OpenText and FlexPoint, but I just wanted to quickly talk about some of the functionality that we've been looking at and we're excited about for RoboRewsty. And there's a couple things on here that actually aren't mentioned that I can touch on, but we have workflow documentation. So using RoboRewsty, we'll show a video that you can actually take a workflow that has been completed, ask it to document it, and it will make it all nice and pretty with colored documentation and colored comments. You can ask RoboRewsty anything. So you can ask it questions about, say, options filters. If I was smart, I would have used RoboRewsty there to ask about how to build an options filter and or an options generator, and it would actually give me an answer and it would link to the relevant documents. What is love? Yeah, that's a good question, Clea. You can analyze workflow results. So if you have a failed workflow, RoboRewsty will go and help you try to figure out why it failed and give you some pointers on where you can fix it. You can also build or update workflows. So yeah, you can prompt it, and I'll show a video of this, and it will actually go ahead and build you a workflow from scratch, or it can update your workflow, an existing workflow. So with that, let's show some videos. So this first one is, well, you'll see what it is. there you go. So it's documented your workflow using our pretty notes system, and it explains what each section does. So yeah, it's a way of quickly, obviously you want to verify this after because AI is going to AI. And yeah, it's a pretty simple but effective way of documenting workflows, because documenting, we all know, is the first thing to fall off the list when you're in a time crunch.
So no excuses now, folks.
Yeah.
There it is. You can get it done with a click of a button.
All right, next up we have, I get out of that. Why can't I do it? Next up, we have chat with RoboRewsty. So maybe I'll stop here for a second. Okay. So just asking what Halo tickets or what triggers are available for when a ticket in Halo gets updated. It's asking, it's thinking. There we go. And you can see that it came up with a list of triggers telling you how to set it up. And then at the bottom, you can see that it has a list of sources that it pulled from. So yeah, it'll link you directly to our documentation page that tells you about triggers and how to set them up. Excellent. What's going on here?
Daniel, who was responsible on the team for RoboRewsty's witty and comical loading dialogues? Where it's,
That's a good question. That would be, I can't remember the name of the library that we use, but we have a library that has some witty dialogues and pizza on that.
You should have said yourself. You should have been like, that was me, George.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah, I'm the smart one. Okay, so you can see here that we had a failed workflow. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to get RoboRewsty to analyze that failed workflow. Once it's done, you can see RoboRewsty has come up with an absolute novel of a response. This is one thing that we've already got some feedback on it, and we'll probably try to make this more concise. But you can see here that RoboRewsty is very detailed in the response here. It gives you some recommendations. When we did this live, we did a very simple workflow test where we had an integration that wasn't set up, and it actually found that the integration wasn't set up properly, told you exactly where to do that. And there was also another integration that was missing a parameter in the action, and it was able to detect that and tell you exactly what you should put in that missing parameter field. Okay. Now let's take a look at this one here. So I have an issue with where my accounting department spends a week every quarter reconciling the user count in M365 to the user count in Halo on the invoices. Is there a way we can automate this? I just want to know about the ones where they're mismatched, really. If there's a greater than 5% change, either up or down, create a ticket for that company, else just change it. We currently store user counts in the invoice itself, so that's where it'll need updating. I just want to run it for one org for now for testing purposes with no trigger. Okay, so that's the prompt that we've given RoboRewsty. Okay, so what's happening here is it's creating a quick diagram for you to validate whether this is the type of workflow that you want to see created. You can do a quick sanity check, and from there you can approve or reject it. And you can see it's adding, it's dynamically adding actions onto the screen. So the way that this is working is we have an agent cluster or agent swarm. I can't remember the exact terminology, but essentially we have an agent that will create your actions. We have an agent for transitions. So you can see that's probably why it was happening at separate times. And it's interesting also that it built the workflow first. So when I'm building a workflow, I'm just going to pause it for a second here so I'm not talking over RoboRewsty. Exactly, RoboRewsty could have solved that problem for me. Thanks, Jack. The way that AI thinks of building workflows is different from the way that I think of building workflows. I will usually add an action, add another action, and then I'll create the transition. Whereas AI, the way that it was building workflows is add all the actions, then come back and add all the transitions. So just interesting to see. So yeah, it comes up with a summary of what that does. And the workflow is obviously perfect. First try, don't need any retries. We won't run this workflow. Excellent. Okay, so I think that's the end of the videos here. I think that was the last one. A couple of other things just related to RoboRewsty that I'll talk about. We've also added what we're called, so RoboRewsty runs off of an MCP server. That MCP server is the way for RoboRewsty to actually talk to the Rewst database and get information that's relevant to you. RoboRewsty is actually running within the context of the user who's querying RoboRewsty, so for security purposes, so it doesn't automatically have like admin access to everything within your org. That MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol, is also available in a trigger format. So you can actually, what you can do is, as you're talking to RoboRewsty within the UI, you can ask it questions and get it to run workflows. And anything that has that MCP trigger will actually be able to run just via AI. The thought of that is you can actually have interactions between our MCP trigger and other AIs or anything like that. So yeah, this is just some of the functionality that we announced at Flow. Gareth, yeah, beta testing needed. We will be likely looking for beta testers, hopefully sometime in the August-September timeframe. This is some of the functionality is going to be launched where we have a September deadline for, I think, the workflow documentation and Ask RoboRewsty, and then some of the stuff that's more complex and also like related to results in building workflows, and that will be available later on in the year. So we're hoping for September all the way up to Q4. But yeah, are there any questions about any of the things that we talked about? I know I took at least 20 minutes.
No, that was great, Daniel. Thanks. Like, this is super cool. Like the fact that this is coming, that you can now use RoboRewsty to build documentation, which, let's face it, no one really likes doing, and therefore no one really does. Like you say, go back and forth for ideas. Like, hey, I need something that will help generate a workflow around this. Like, help me understand what I need to do, as well as error handling, and then just actually building the thing. Like, it's incredible. It's going to unlock so much more for MSPs. There was one question just going back through the chat from Paul, who was just interested if when on the last demo, whenever you're actually giving it a detailed prompt, will RoboRewsty add error handling if you put that in the prompt?
Yes, we do have. So when we did the live demo, Pizza, who's done a lot of development on this, he actually added, there was some branches that had error handling in there as well. We've found that, like, generally RoboRewsty will look for error handling on its own, but if you specifically mention that, yes, it will add some form of error handling. Craig, did you have a question?
Oh, I had a quick question. Whilst I was thinking it and watching you do that wicked slide, I know it's really early days yet for this AI, but will RoboRewsty be available for building stuff in App Builder?
Not at the moment. So we still have to, we have to do a bit of extra work to get Builder AI into App Builder. So the first place that it will be available is in the workflow builder. but I actually don't have information on how difficult it is to transition that into. I don't understand really why it would be that much more difficult to put into App Builder, to be quite honest. So at the moment, just workflows. That's the first one.
Daniel, is there anything interested? I know you mentioned like beta testing will be coming towards the end of the quarter, but is there anything in the interim that passionate or interested community members can do to I guess direct their excitement? Anything that you or the team need help with or are looking for that other folks in the community might be able to help you out with?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we don't have anything formalized at the moment. We're heads down trying to meet that deadline. But maybe we can set something up related to AI and Rewst if we don't already have some sort of AI channels available in Discord or AI forums or anything like that. So at the moment, no, but I'll take that as I'll add that as a takeaway for how people can talk about AI and get excited about RoboRewsty.
Yeah, and it seems like with this, documents is going to be a huge part of it as well, guys. So if you're currently using our our docs database and see anything that needs updated or you want to tweak, like please let us know so we can get that updated. So RoboRewsty's pulling up to date and all the correct info. I think that'll be helpful. So, or as Jack says, just DM your ideas directly to Daniel with really aggressive, excited GIFs. But for anything documentation related, as you guys can see, Jack's very passionate about that. So Jack also welcomes DMs about anything documentation related.
I also noticed I skipped something. I didn't show the Create Marketplace. I can quickly just show that. So you can see we have some guides on this page too, but this definitely looks a little bit different than it was before. You can see that we have some quick filters. So if I click on new, I'll see only the newest of crates. You can go to all crates here. You can actually do some filtering. This is actually doing my demo for me. This is perfect. We've added categories. So crates weren't properly categorized before. They were tagged. And we all know how much everybody loves tags. So now we've actually categorized them properly. So I can just look at security, for example. And I can use this to inform my decisions. We also have increased visibility into, search visibility. So if I want to look at GDAP, you can see that it will actually search in the title as well as within the description of the crate. But yeah, this is just part of we're trying to just make the Create Marketplace more approachable and more easily searchable especially for new customers joining Rewst, so they can find out what's going on and what's new and exciting and all that fun stuff. That's it. That's
Sweet.
actually.
Thanks, Daniel. That's a lovely segue into the marketplace man himself, Mr. JP. Over to you, sir. I can pop the slides up if you need them, or you feel free to share yourself.
I'll just share them from my computer. It's fine.
And you guys had a very busy month as well, JP, with lots of new stuff happening in the marketplace.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting, we'll say. So this month we released a few new crates. We did a complete refactor of the Pod Technician toolbox for ConnectWise. The look and feel is approximate to the previous one. We did make some slight aesthetic adjustments, but the big thing, at least from a supportability standpoint, is that was one of our very old crates that needed a major facelift. It'll really help our support team be able to address changes and things like that in the workflow. So that's a pretty important one. We have a few workflows that are kind of similar. They center around security related integrations and basically taking that information and piping it into your PSA of choice. So we've got Quark, OpenText, which is in this case, WebRoot, and Nodeware. So it basically just looks at thread events for Quark and Nodeware, or in the case of the now rebranded OpenText Core Endpoint Protection, it looks at file detection events in the portal. Another one that we did was the Windows Patch Deployer, which I'll show here in a minute. It's pretty neat. And I counted 54 bug fixes and enhancements throughout the course of the month. So hopefully we're hoping to we want that number, you think we'd want that number to go up, but we actually want it to go down. We're doing a lot of new automated unit testing of workflows in Rewst. So as we make changes to major workflows like our PSA update stuff, our PowerShell update stuff, some of the core major workflows, as we change those, we have automated unit tests running against those to let us know if we screwed up something. So that's pretty exciting stuff. We want to be doing less work, as all good automation engineers aspire to do. So going to take a look at the Windows Patch Deployer. It's available in the marketplace now. Here's the workflow. If everyone wants to see the workflow canvas, it actually includes both this workflow that does all the work, and then another workflow that does that's packaged with it that basically does data collection on a cron job. Let's see if I can click that tab. All right, so here's the interface for the workflow. It's basically, the idea was that MSPs, sometimes there are critical patches that just simply need to go out to machines. And this is a nice, clean, easy way to do it. It leverages your existing RMM tool, but you don't have to use the patch manager built into it. It's going to basically run some PowerShell on that machine to install the patches using the local Windows Update agent. So we'll pick our organization. We'll pick an operating system as an example. And we got our computer here. You can select multiple computers. In this case, we only have one Windows 10 test machine. You can pick a few patches that we want to install on the machine. You can pick a deployment schedule when you want this patch install to run, and there's the limitation within the next 30 days. And you can also select a ticket in your PSA tool to attach some notes to it. So that is, and then you just hit submit, and it runs the workflow job. And if it's sometime in the future, it sits there on a delay, and we'll do it sometime in the future. All right, that's the Windows patch deployer. And I think that wraps it up for the June marketplace updates.
Awesome. Thanks, JP. Yeah. 5 new crates released last month. It's more than one a week. So awesome work. And thanks for taking us through that. And as Daniel mentioned, now you've got a new interface, guys, with some search capabilities to make your life easier finding all the great pre-built automations we have. So go check it out and see if you're missing anything or want to unpack something new. Give it a whirl. Next up, we have Ms. Clea, everyone's favorite Colorado lady. How are you, Clea?
I am great because you got my name right. Thank you, George.
I think there was some mispronunciation last time. I think that's just my accent. So
sure.
I really put the C on it this time.
The C is not silent. So hello, everyone. First reminder is not really an update, but if you find yourself with a little bit of downtime this summer, what better way than to knock out some Cluck University courses? If you are not sure how to do that, check out My Learning. I'll give you a brief demo next. Scroll down and you'll find everything you registered for. In my case, it's a lot because I have a lot of interest and a little time, and a medium amount of ADHD. And then when you are looking at a course itself, you can always click next in the bottom right corner. But for me, I really like looking at the left-hand side menu and just clicking on the things to mark them done. So how do we do that in the LMS? Here's my profile, all my registrations. I'll just go ahead and pick the first course here. So before I resume, I can see, yep, where I left off was wet versus dry documentation. And I can either go next or click here to complete the things. Do make sure that you're scrolling down where you see videos. Often we have some useful reinforcement text at the bottom there. And any feedback, just email us at CluckU. One more update that I have for you all is we are deprecating 7 micro courses. So getting rid of some old content because we have newer, better resources for you. This is outlined in our training page. So I'll drop a link to that in the chat. You don't see it right away, just open up that little collapser thingy for CluckU and documentation updates. Absolutely, you have courses that cover option generators. Jack, we don't yet have option filter in those courses, but if you think we need it beyond documentation, give us a shout. We always want suggestions. Anyway, here's the courses that will be replaced. We have also announced that in CluckU, so if I'm going to go search for our courses, filter for micro courses, and just pick one, for example, core triggers to kick off automation, you'll see a note about deprecation, shutting these down on the 7th. You will still see course completion in your profile, but the content will no longer be available. And the best way to provide feedback is by emailing us at CluckU. I'll pop that email into the chat. You can also reach out to us via Discord, but personally, I'm far better at email, and we don't want things to get lost. So the team, me, Eddie, and Lauren, keep tabs on that inbox, and we try to respond as soon as we can.
Thanks, Clea. Does anyone have any questions for education or anything around CluckU before we continue?
I will also say that all courses that are standalone, not part of learning paths where you take a bunch of courses together, they end with a feedback survey. Definitely send us feedback that way as well. But if something is urgent or broken or you need immediate feedback, email's the way. Yeah, we're getting a lot of good feedback. Speaking of which, sorry, last plug on our process engineering course. So if you haven't taken that course yet, go check it out. It's going to save you a lot of heartache and headache before building things in Rewst. I'll drop a link to that one in the chat, and then I'll be quiet, I promise.
No, you're fine, Clea. That was good call out that the process engineering one. We've been getting lots of good feedback from new partners from sometimes just with the sheer and kind of dream machine that Rewst is, you can really get your wheels spinning. That course is great at kind of taking a lot of the noise away and having you really focus in on building out that process first, so things feel a lot clearer, and building some really good practices. The other one I wanted to call out, we were having some great conversations at Flow last week, was going back to automation basics. So now with automation in general in our industry really ramping up, and with some of the stuff that Danial showed earlier around AI, I personally am really anticipating a lot of not just MSPs, but your customers, and indeed your broader team, not just the technical builders, really jumping in and wanting to accelerate the different workflows that can be built. And I can't recommend the automation basics enough. I think this is something that you should have all of your staff do, so they can communicate in the same language using the same terms, right? If you have someone in marketing or finance that comes to you and wants to build an automation but doesn't really know what an API is or how JSON works, things can kind of get lost in translation there. That's a really short, simple course that's going to equip your team with knowledge, so that you're all kind of singing off the same hymn sheet. Alrighty, thank you, Clea. Me next, then we've got some customer demos, some partner demos to wrap things up. I'll keep mine short and sweet, guys. I just wanted to call out some events and webinars. So you probably have seen on LinkedIn, you've probably seen in your inbox, Flow last week was a huge success. We had hundreds of people there. Some of them were on this call. Everything's already locked and loaded for next year. Okay, we do have early bird pricing already at $249 USD. I think that ends sometime in August. So treat yourself. Just sign up today. Maybe you've got a Q2 bonus. Put it towards that. Go wrangle your boss who's maybe got FOMO looking at everyone having fun on LinkedIn. The other key tip is that if you buy 2 or more tickets, you will get a $50 discount. Okay, so again, doing my super awesome quick math, that takes it down to $199 per ticket if you and your boss or you and your colleagues go. So reach out to your CSM for a link. I'll also drop it in the chat so you can make use of it. And also we have a NinjaOne webinar in July. So a lot of our partners are using NinjaOne, great company to work with, great RMM. We have a new channel in our Discord community that we launched last month. So if you are a NinjaOne user, you're building automations using Ninja, you want to collaborate or ask questions, you can definitely go and crowdsource answers and collaborate with other MSPs in there. Last slide for me, just some stuff on the community. May have seen also on LinkedIn, our boy Elliot over in England getting his swag. Thank you to our distributor in England. That is Mr. Lewis on the call, who's turned his house into a distribution center for Rewst. We'll mail you some swag if you meet with me and do a quick community creations recording. These are super simple short videos that we're pushing towards new users, okay, who maybe sometimes can get choice paralysis with where to start. Hey, do an automated password reset, learn how to update tickets, learn how to automate certain email things like Jack's been talking about all day in the chat. Okay, super simple short videos, takes 10 minutes, and we will send you some swag for your time. The other thing I wanted to call out as well is our business leaders focus group. So in Discord and indeed on these calls, we have a wonderful technical lens where we're diving into the depths of automation, kind of getting into the technical bits and pieces. We do now have a new business leaders focus group that is more for folks who want to talk about outcomes of automation. So maybe you're an MSP owner, maybe it's something that your boss or colleague might be interested in just kind of getting together once a month with 5 or 6 other MSP business leaders to actually talk about how they're implementing implementation, how they're beginning to roll out automation as a service. The reason why I'm highlighting this on this call is we have one in North America already, but understanding the time zones, maybe the evenings aren't a great time, and so the more people we get interested on the European side, the more of these calls we can set up. So I'm going to drop a couple of those links in the chat now. If you're interested, please either grab some time for recording with me or complete the form to sign up for the business leaders focus group. So stand by, those are coming your way. Speaking of folks over in the UK, I think we've got Gareth Smith on the call. Great last name, great surname. Gareth, are you here?
That's best surname ever, this.
That's it. We just blend into all of the administrative lists.
Exactly.
That's it. And you've got something you're going to take us through this afternoon, correct, Gareth?
Yeah. So it's actually, hopefully this will actually help a few people, because I've seen quite a few weirdly comments on Discord since I've kind of built this. So I'll just quickly kind of sum it up, because I'm going to kind of show you backwards. I'm going to show you running before I show you the actual workflows. So I've integrated ClickUp into Rewst. Now, obviously, I'm not here to kind of go through what ClickUp is or anything like that. But essentially, it's something I'm using quite often myself now, just because it's easier for my tasks and stuff. So let me start sharing my screen. Bear with me. I apologize if you're on a small screen. Do let me know if you can't see it and it looks really zoomed out. I've got a nice shiny 34-inch monitor. The problem is when I share my screen, it looks tiny for quite a few people. So I'll try and zoom in as much as possible. So one of the main things is kind of going from, using ConnectWise every day to something like ClickUp is obviously, I want everything to talk to everything essentially. So I've kind of built a couple of different workflows here, and this is something I've literally came up with. I believe I messaged George, I think like Tuesday, something like that. That was pretty much the day I started running with all this, because I just like, ooh. But yeah, so I've kind of got things such as, we all know this workflow, which is the listener for when the workflows fail. So instead of kind of just getting it to email or anything like that, I want it to create a task in ClickUp. But then once it's created that task in ClickUp, I want it to create a ticket. Then once it's created that ticket, I want it to also communicate with each other. So I add something on ClickUp, it will add it to that ticket. I add something onto that ticket, it'll add it onto ClickUp. Well, that's kind of what I've done. So essentially, that way I can kind of easily monitor, issues and stuff like that's failing, and I've got a registered ticket with it. So I'm going to quickly kind of show you what it looks like first. Yes, this is meant to fail on purpose, by the way. Let's just be the one time it doesn't. There you go. It failed. So the way this will work is this is it here. It's not added the ticket number yet. So obviously I should have probably showed you the screen before I got there. There you go. Look, it's populating everything. Give it a minute, and there you go. Just create a ticket number. So you're just kind of seeing all that updating. So when we click into it, what it'll grab the information, usually you guys have when essentially you get an email saying, oh, this is the problem. Obviously, there's no real fail reason. It's built to fail. So we've got all the information here, which is, okay, that's awesome. But as you can see here, we've got the reference ticket. So if I go onto my board, so before I refresh it, you can see there's only these 3 tickets here. Hit search, and there's the 4th. And as you can see, the ticket number here, 006, is linked to this one here. So if I go into the actual work here, there's a couple of things. So the way this kind of works is as well as just giving the discussion, I want a backlink as well. So when it creates that ticket, it's going to create me a backlink to that ClickUp task. So essentially, if I need to come into ConnectWise and come into this ticket, I can always just simply, click this link and it's going to take me straight back into there. So as you can see, this has been created. There's no comment. There's nothing on here at the minute. So we're going to change that. Again, I'll get to show you the workflow after. Test comment. This works internally and externally. Externally was a bit fun. That it didn't want to play ball for ages. So as you can see here, I've done a simple test comment. And fingers crossed, the demo gods are working with me today. We'll go back into here. There you go. It's even picked my name up, test comment. So it's gone from ConnectWise straight into here for me, and vice versa. The only difference is I haven't figured it out yet. Like I said, I've only been working on this, obviously, over these last few days. Is getting the name from here into ConnectWise. So I just put like a little comment because I know it's going to go into there. Gaz, test back. I don't know, just write anything. I didn't even write test properly. Tessie, no idea what that is. And then from here, as again, we'll give it a refresh. There you go. So as you can see, essentially, we've got communication both ways, which is perfect. And obviously, at some point, I will be adding it in where, you can change the status on ClickUp, it'll change the status on here. You want it to send an email rather than doing an internal note, that sort of thing. It is all possible. Again, I just not had to kind of go around all that. And it's been a while since I presented, so I wanted to be involved today and kind of showcase everything. So straight away from the listener, crazy simple. This is already kind of built. I can't remember what crate you got it from. But yeah, essentially, obviously, I've added a couple of custom bits, but all this is doing is going to that task. So I want this to go to a specific list, which you see on ClickUp is my bugs and issues. I think I put it down under. So here. So that's the only one I wanted to look at in this case because it's failed. So it's going to be a bug and issue. So essentially, that's all it's doing. So from there, hang on, I've got you guys in the corner. Let me minimize that. All this is doing is grabbing the information. Again, it's not pretty, but obviously I'll be working on that. It's grabbing all the information of that failed workflow, and it's going to populate into that task. So when that task's finished, we need to create a simple ticket. So this is triggered via a webhook. Quite plain and simple. Nothing special about this. It's literally just got a URL that I've essentially. I had to create another workflow for, which essentially pushes that webhook to ClickUp to allow this to be registered. But here, all this is doing is essentially going, right, when a task is created, I want it to trigger. So from here, all it's doing is kind of getting the whole task ID that's just been created, which is obviously inside the body of the webhook. That's literally it. That's the only information we need. And then one issue I did have is every time I created a subtask inside the main parent task, it kept creating more and more tickets for it. So I changed that. So essentially, all this is doing is looking to see if the parent is none, or to see if it has a parent, or so if it's a subtask, essentially it's going to have a parent, so I don't want it to do anything or recreate a ticket. The comments are already going in there, so anything that gets updated is automatically going to update that ticket anyway, so I don't need it to create different ones. And then if obviously it's not got a parent, it means that task doesn't exist yet. It'll just go through kind of standard procedure here, go create a ticket, all that lot, grab the task name, everything that you need, contact email address, kind of whatever you want, and the task description itself. Then all it's going to do is simply update the ticket after to put in the internal note, which is the ClickUp task URL, which we want. And then, as well as that, it's essentially going to go update the field inside ClickUp to basically go, right, this is the ticket number, and that's all it's doing. It's literally getting that ticket ID, coming to here, and then it's going to slap it straight into here. And it's pretty much the same the other way around. So, you want to go from, ConnectWise to ClickUp. All you're looking for is a quick ticket update. So essentially, if a ticket's being updated, in my case, I've got to a specific board and everything else. As soon as it's doing that, all it's doing is kind of getting the ticket ID, the ConnectWise note, breaking that down, and then it's listing all the notes because, essentially I need the internal and external. Because obviously we want it to only show the most up-to-date note, so regardless of which side that is. And obviously this is just getting the note ID and the text. It's not overly complex stuff really. It's quite straightforward. And then all it's doing is then going to go check based on the list checkup. Is essentially right. Okay, does this match the task ID that's in ClickUp to ConnectWise? Now what it does, it uses that ticket number as that reference, because essentially if it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we've got a task, but there's no ticket number, obviously it'll go to task not found. If it finds a task with that correct ticket number, essentially it's like, oh, okay, awesome. And then what it'll do, it'll just simply go post whatever the comment is. Now another thing I had to put in is, because as you've seen, when a comment triggers on ClickUp, essentially it then starts the opposite way around. So if a comment goes on ClickUp, it'll then update ConnectWise. So just to kind of get around that, I put this tiny little bit just because I referenced that. Let me go and find it, which is here. I referenced that in here. So what I mean by that is it will simply go, let me look at the alert comment. Does it have this comment? So I've got two here, obviously one just in case it fails to update the ticket. If it's essentially got this symbol, don't bother updating because that is the update essentially. So again, all this is doing is the exact same as the ConnectWise to ClickUp. It's literally the exact same webhook that comes in from ClickUp. It will then come through, get the task ID and everything else in it. It will extract the ticket ID from obviously the custom field. Kind of once it gets there, all it's doing is going, right, has this actually got a ticket? If it has, okay, we'll process that. If it hasn't, then essentially that's where you see the alert. It's just basically going to ping a quick alert to basically tell me, me and my team, that, okay, there's no PSA ticket found for this task essentially. And then, yeah, it will kind of proceed from there. So obviously if it's an alert comment, which obviously I showed a minute ago, so either it's from being failed or essentially it's been updated from ConnectWise, yeah, it essentially kind of goes over here where obviously if it is, it'll go and update the ticket. And if it fails, again, a bit little fail here. If it fails to update the ticket, it'll come back and just say, here we go, your ConnectWise ticket's update failed. And it will just put that back on that task that originally triggered the webhook. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not massive workflows or anything. You combine them all together, it could be pretty powerful, and this kind of gives you an idea what you can do between ClickUp and Rewst to ConnectWise or kind of whatever PSA really. Essentially you can, again, certain things I'll be adding is statuses and everything else like that to kind of match up. So if I put something in progress in ClickUp, it'll knock it in progress on ConnectWise, that sort of thing. And as you can imagine, you can go as far as you want. So essentially you can replace ConnectWise with a front end of ClickUp, so you can literally work in ClickUp and everything gets updated in real time in ConnectWise.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Gareth, and for you for having only just kind of started work on it earlier in the week. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Did anyone have any questions about that specific workflow that anyone wanted to ask or dive in a little bit deeper with Gareth? Let me just check the chat here. We're good. And with 3 minutes left, guys, does anyone have anything that they want to circle back on in general from the call, whether it's product related or stuff from the marketplace, or does anyone just have any general questions that they wanted to pose to the group? Anything you're getting stuck on or want some advice or help with?
Just something maybe. It's just on App Builder. We've started diving into that a bit, and
okay,
it's really powerful what one can do.
Yeah, App Builder
tied into the workflows and the components. Because there's some nice background documentation. So you got to dive into that.
Very good. And Brett, how are you like, is that just you're kind of curious to learn more? Is there anything we at Rewst can do to help accelerate your app builder learning? Do you need to connect you with anyone for some one-on-one pointers?
It's a good question. Had the main one is input variables as parameters for the workflow. There's a lovely input text, but not quite getting that sticking. So there's not much documentation around it. So that would be a nice one.
Noted. Yeah, I can certainly look into that for you. Andy, or go ahead.
Brent, are you in the App Builder Discord channel?
Yes.
If you're having any trouble, and not getting answers in that channel, feel free to ping me or anybody from Rewst, and we'll try to get you some answers.
Cool, thank you. I must use that channel more. I'm a bit too quiet there, so I will. Thanks.
Yeah. I would say that's just a good rule, guys, for everyone on this call to know in Discord, because you all have your private channels, and the Rock has different automations that obviously alerts them whenever you chat with them. The same triggers aren't available for the community channels, because can you imagine being on the Rock team and getting an alert every time someone posts in the coop? You would you probably want to leave, right? So with that being said, if you do post something and you're looking for help, in any channels across Discord, feel free to tag me if you need something escalated or resurfaced, just as a general rule. So if you post something on a Monday, it gets buried, or you're just kind of hearing crickets, whether it's just from other community members or from Rewst staff in general, you can always just tag George Smith, and I can help escalate or help work with you to get things uncovered. So that is the top of the hour, guys. If no one has any other questions, we can wrap it up there. So anyone speak now or forever hold your peace? Going once, going twice. Alrighty, well, thanks so much for joining another EU Open Mic. We'll be posting the recording in the EU Discord server if anyone wants to circle back with anything or share it with anybody. Open Mic is running tomorrow. It is America Day, so a lot of the Americans will be out of office, but Ashley and I are doing a bit of a takeover. So if you're a couple of beers in at 8 p.m. over in Europe and want to join for the crack, please do, because it's going to be a little bit unhinged tomorrow. We're going to have some fun. As they say, when the cats are away, the mice will play. So I'll leave that with you. Thanks again for joining. We'll see you all in the first week of August for our July update. And if you haven't already, make sure you click some of the links that were dropped into the chat to check out those courses, buy your flow tickets, book more time to see my face, and we've got the Business Leaders Focus Group as well. Thanks, everyone. Daniel, you know crack, you can spell it correctly as well. There you go. And thanks again to Gareth as well. Cheers, everyone.